Yeah, reality show Sunday night, April 29th, 2018. What you're listening to is A New God, Indifferent. I think I might have it wrong. Yeah, the name of the band is A New God, all one word, Indifferent. Yeah, lately been getting into a lot of like kind of underground, heavy metal, not so much mainstream. Uh, don't want to have to pay royalties. Don't want to get in trouble. I remember one show or a couple shows I did, or actually, yeah, one of my shows I did. I actually did get in trouble, and my video got banned because I played what's it called? A mainstream song. So you can still listen to it on here, but for some reason YouTube banned it. YouTube's very sensitive about what type of shit you can and can't put. I mean, I kind of quasi know about the stuff they put out. Let me backtrack. I'm kind of quasi like in tune with what's going on with YouTube. They're being very sensitive about what people can and can't post. For example, if you have a video game channel, you can't put anything that's too violent, otherwise they're not going to pay you for it. Or there's been some cases where hand to God, that they have deemed makeup channels too sexual. I don't know how that happens, but it does, and wrestling channels and stuff. I currently have a YouTube channel. I'll post a link, after we're done tonight. I'll probably make this a short show. See if I can go like maybe 40, 50 minutes. Let's see if we can go like 50 minutes. I haven't been on it too much. I've just been swamped with work and school. This is my last spring. I will be graduating in fall, hopefully. If all goes according to plan, I'm taking a summer class and doing my interning. Yeah, but my YouTube channel, I haven't been on it as much as I should have. I've been paying more attention to just work, school, and this, and the girlfriend. I will do my best I can to put out more content on this show and also my YouTube channel. I don't know. I remember when I first started, it was like 2 shows a week, and now it's just like down to 1 show a week. It feels like I haven't been on for a long time. I don't even remember when the last show was. I know it was last week. I just don't remember what day. I think maybe last Tuesday. So, anyways, it's just me tonight. I was supposed to have Devin on. There was it's a little bit of miscommunication. I thought he said he was going to get out at work at 7. But apparently he meant that he was available until 7, so he's not home. We had been planning to do this episode because we were going to talk about Infinity War, which, we can discuss a little bit. But unfortunately we can't because he's off being a piece of shit. I'm playing. No, I'm not. Yeah, it's just me tonight. Yeah, these solo shows, they're not always easy. You gotta think of shit to talk about. Luckily I do tonight. We can talk about... What can we talk about? Might as well just talk about Infinity War, because that's what all the buzz is about. I won't get into it too much, because, the point is I wanted Devin on tonight, so we can, discuss the show. Discuss the movie. But, so far, Infinity War is on track to top Star Wars' opening weekend with $250 million domestic, $630 million worldwide. Yeesh. I believe it's already topped The Dark Knight. It's gargantuan opening. I'm looking at comicbookmovie.com. It's gargantuan opening would top Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and it would become the 6th film to top 200 million in its opening frame, joining The Force Awakens, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Jurassic World, The Avengers, and Black Panther. Internationally, Marvel's latest is eyeing a worldwide debut in the $63 million range. Yeesh. Nearly $100 million better than the Fate of the Furious worldwide launched last year. So yeah, shockingly enough, this movie is making a fuck ton of money and will more than likely surpass Black Panther and get to that $1 billion, which would make Marvel / Disney Studios the highest grossing movie studio in the entire pretty much in the entire cosmos. Marvel just continues to put out hits. It's weird, they make one film that's huge. They make one film that's huge in Black Panther, and then almost immediately a film that was already projected to be probably their biggest film, ends up just defying all odds and shattering expectations, to where Kevin Feige, he's already worried about Avengers 4 because Infinity War pretty much shattered expectations, to where Kevin Feige pretty much said, shit, now we have to top that. Which I'm pretty sure, Marvel won't have a problem with. But how do you top that? We can talk about Infinity War a little bit. Probably won't. I'm not gonna say too much because the point was to have Devin on, so we can talk about the whole fucking movie. Yeah, the movie begins where Thor Ragnarok left off, in that post-credit scene where that big giant ship just kind of landed in front of Thor's ship with the Asgardians. The beginning of the movie, it wasn't like your typical Marvel, dun 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 dun, like your typical dramatic intro music. It had the logo, but in the beginning you hear someone make a distress signal, saying, this is the Asgardian, ship, we're being attacked, blah blah blah. Which, come to find out, that was actually Kenneth Branagh who directed the first Thor. The movie begins with Thor, Thanos and the Black Order killing everybody on, the Asgardian ship, only leaving what's his name, Heimdall, Thor, and Loki alive. Heimdall, and the Hulk. Hulk comes out, gets his ass beat by Thor, which that's not something we're used to. I mean, not Thor. He gets his ass beat by Thanos. We're not used to that. Heimdall uses what's left to send Hulk away. Thanos says he shouldn't have done that, and then he kills Heimdall. Loki gives him the Tesseract, and then looks like he's going to betray Thor again, but in his last effort, he tries to, I guess, get the upper hand on Thanos. Thanos then chokes him out and then breaks his neck and says, no resurrection this time. Goes away, Thor's ship explodes. And Hulk is blasted into Earth, into the Sanctum Sanctorium, Doctor Strange's place, and that's where the movie begins. Overall, good beginning, good way to kind of suck the crowd in. And everything else just kind of goes from there. Team ups, Doctor Strange gets Tony meets Bruce tells him about Thanos, Black Order comes in, yada yada yada. Again, I'm not going to spoil it too much because the point is I wanted Devin on, and hopefully I'll try to get him on another show this coming week so we can actually talk about what we want to talk about. I'm sorry. Overall, the movie obviously lived up to the hype. Usually when Marvel puts out like these, like, because leading up to the movie, they kept putting out new clips, like, this is a clip about Thanos, this is a clip about the Black Order, this is a clip about whomever. Usually whenever movie studios do that, specifically, like DC or Marvel, the movie doesn't really do that well, because that just kind of makes people go, okay, I already saw this scene, why should I care now? I don't know, Marvel did a lot to kind of throw people off, because when you watch the movie, yeah, you saw those clips, But there was a lot in the movie that you did not expect to happen. Especially in the trailer. You just assume that everybody was going to be off on their merry way and do their own thing. No. In the end, everybody ended up kind of meeting up. Kind of. Keyword kind of. I mean, the only thing I will kind of spoil is, in spoiler alert, in the end credits scene, they tease Captain Marvel. Nick Fury and Maria Hill arrived to New York, and shit's going down. Nick Fury pulls out some type of like really kind of like pager or whatever the hell you want to call it, and is sending out a distress signal, drops it, and the camera pans to this shape pager where it just says send ... and then it shows the Captain Marvel symbol, and the whole theater I was in was like, oh shit, Captain Marvel. So she will obviously be in part 4. I mean, she's going to have her own movie next year, and that's going to be before Infinity War. That movie's going to be set in the 90s. I'm just wondering, where the hell has she been this whole time? It's like, when the first Avengers movie happened, why didn't Nick Fury think to go, let me bring in Carol? Or when Age of Ultron happened, let me bring in Carol. Like, has she been dead? Is it like a Captain America situation where she's been, I guess, like, cryogenically frozen? Or if that's the case, why was he texting her? Like, has he known that she's been alive this whole time? It's like, come on, Nick, if you knew that, why didn't you bring her? So, I don't know. I guess you figured the guys could handle it on their own. This time it's a lot different because they're dealing with a larger intergalactic threat. So, what do I know? Again, overall the movie was great. I want to see it again. We're hoping to maybe see it again sometime next week. This is the type of movie you want to watch over and over again. It's hard because a lot of people I know saying, I have to wait till next week to go, or I got to wait till 2 weeks ago because every showing, like even if you want to go like on a Monday morning, those showings will be sold out, like no joke. I don't think there's ever been a movie in this day and age that's been able to sell out like that quickly. Because I remember when I bought the tickets, I actually woke up 15 minutes prior to when they were selling the tickets, so that way I can get a good edge, on everybody else getting the tickets. I bought the tickets as soon as they came out, and I'm lucky I did, because within 6 hours they sold out. 6 fucking hours. Like, you gotta be joking me. Excuse me. So, again, Marvel just has another hit on their hand. What else can we talk about? So the next Marvel movie is going to be, well, we're going to talk about Marvel in general. It's going to be Deadpool 2, which I have yet to buy tickets for. I gotta say, I'm not really hyped for that. I mean, I'll watch it because it's Deadpool. It's going to be funny as shit. And Ryan Reynolds always kills it. But, I don't know, there's something about this movie I'm not really crazy about. I don't know, I guess I'll watch it. I just need to buy the tickets first. I checked it, they haven't even sold out. They're not even close to selling out. Ant-Man and the Wasp is also the next Marvel movie. That, oddly enough, will be set, like, the timeline that's going to be before Infinity War, because Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly are going to be in Avengers 4. Well, I just know Paul Rudd. I don't know about Evangeline Lilly. For all I know, they might do an end-credit scene where she's evaporated. And then, a DC movie, Aquaman, will be later in the year, which I'm not sure how to feel about that. It seems like DC does a better job at handling other characters besides Superman and Batman lately. Because with the first Man of Steel was kind of okay. It didn't knock my socks off or anything. When they brought in Batman for BVS, that was really, like, they could have done so much with that, and then they just completely fucked that up. And then Wonder Woman came in, that was like receiving Oscar praise. Justice League, that could have been huge, but that became a pile of shit. Aquaman is supposed to be like huge, like freaking huge. And then the movie that actually looks really good, oddly enough, is Shazam. I don't know a lot about Shazam to really judge him. I just know, the basics. He's a little kid, and whenever he says Shazam, he's struck by lightning. He becomes Captain Marvel, but they're not going to call him Captain Marvel, obviously. That looks good, and then Flash, which it was supposed to be Flashpoint, but apparently they decided to not call it Flashpoint. I don't know why. And of course, their television department, kills it. Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, which I've yet to really watch or get into. Legends of Tomorrow, which I never got into. Black Lightning, which I'm like way behind on that. They just put it on Netflix, the first season on Netflix. So I'm getting back. I'm definitely gonna like really keep up on that. And Teen Titans, which that's causing a stir in a negative way, because a while back they showed, what's it called? They showed photos of like what the characters look like of Beast Boy, Raven, and Starfire. Starfire, everyone's causing a big stink about that because she apparently looks nothing like her character, which I don't know a lot about Starfire. I know she's supposed to be an alien. So, I don't know. I don't know enough about Teen Titans. Again, like, I'm a nerd. I love all comic book stuff, but when it comes to pretty much, I don't know everything about everything. I'll just put it that way. Like, I know enough about, the stuff I'm really more into. I'm a Captain America fan, a Wolverine fan, I'm a Batman fan. I never really got into Teen Titans too much. I did see that picture of the, Robin in his costume. That looked pretty cool. Supposedly, Jason Todd is supposed to be on the show, aka Red Hood. Nightwing, I believe, is supposed to be on the show. So I think there's supposed to be an episode called Red Hood. So see how that goes. The show's going to be on TNT, I believe. Same people who do all the other DC shows on CW are going to be doing this, except it's going to be on a different network. Not sure how it's going to work out. I mean, you put Supergirl on CBS and look how that worked out. Why would you put a superhero show on a network that's more for an older audience, aka old people? So, we'll see how that goes. TNT's usually better when it comes to that type of stuff. Yeah. All in all, DC does a better job in their television department and their animated movies rather than their actual movies. And Marvel is the opposite. Their Netflix shows are usually like on point. Lately, their Netflix shows have kind of not been terrible, but like they've been good, but they haven't hit it out of the park like the first season of Daredevil did. Like, for example, Jessica Jones. The season was good, but it kind of brought in a storyline where it was like, why do I need to know about this? Why do I need to know about her mom? Why do I need to know about her mom having superpowers? Why is it important? It's like, you give me a storyline that I don't really need to know about. So, hold up. Let me see if I can get Jesus on this show. Give me just a minute. But yeah, that season, I watched every episode. It was good. It was okay. It didn't top the first season. The first season, I think, is up there with the first season of Daredevil as, being the best, Netflix show. But just the storyline I didn't really care for. I don't really care that her mom has superpowers. And, of course, it had the ending it had, where, Jess is now on her own, and she doesn't really have any friends, and all of her friends are kind of doing their own thing. And the T-Cell Cat, aka Trish Walker, and see how that goes. The next Marvel Netflix show is Luke Cage, which comes out this fall, and not sure how that's gonna go. I'm not sure who the villain is. And hold up, breaking news. Looks like Jesus will be joining us shortly. Yeah, to finish it up, yeah, there's that. Luke Cage in June, I believe. What's the next Marvel Netflix show? I think it's Iron Fist. I believe it's Iron Fist. Come on. Come on. Let's go through all of them in Marvel in general. There's Cloak and Dagger, which I don't know what to expect from that because I don't know too much about it. Devin does, which he's not on tonight. Marvel's Runaways, which I've yet to even finish. Marvel's New Warriors. When the hell's that coming on? What channel is that coming on? ABC. Okay. Okay, what the hell is the next fucking Marvel show? I could have sworn I saw Iron Fist on this. Alright, very shortly we'll be getting Jesus on. So, but yeah, fuck, I'm trying to look for what this next show is. And none of these websites are helping me like one bit. Okay, yeah, Iron Fist Season 2, it says 2018. Doesn't say when. Daredevil Season 3, 2018, which that's gonna be fucking huge, showing what happened at the end of Defenders. It'll be the Reborn storyline. Punisher Season 2, which hopefully they just let Frank Castle be Frank Castle in this season of this whole Dr. Phil bullshit. Because I like the season. The only thing I didn't like was the in-between shit with Frank and that random dude's family. What's his name? Micro's family. It's just, I couldn't care any less about that storyline. I'm sorry. The way they hyped the show up was, he's going to be the Punisher, he's going to fuck shit up. And he did, but the way they hyped it up was that's what you're going to see. Like, I don't care about the Punisher's feelings. I get that, PTSD, that's, I live with I grew up with a dad from, military, and that's something I can relate to, and that's something I've, kind of always lived with. And let's see if we can get Jesus on. Yeah, hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, you just joined me mid-show, about 25 minutes in.
Cool.
Yeah, the original idea, I was supposed to have a friend of mine on earlier, and that didn't work out the way it was supposed to. It was kind of my fault. So decided to do a little solo show, and I wasn't sure if you were busy or not. I texted you, and I was talking, then you replied back and said you were down. So now you're here.
Hell yeah.
How you feeling, man?
I have been better.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Um, I don't want to put your business on blast. Tell the people, what's been going on, man.
Too much, too much has been going on. So I have like this ongoing gag. I think every time I talk to someone, and I feel like I have this curse on me or my life or my family. So without getting, like you said, like not too much detail, but I mean a lot has gone on. But the last three things that have happened, I feel like are just like indicative of how my life is going. So I want to like rewind back maybe to what day? I mean, what day? I'm like all gonna like be, let's we'll go back to April 6th, right? Just this month,
Yeah.
so on April 6th, like all crazy, right? Um, we're gonna go to the movies, and what movie were we gonna watch? Blockers, I think, with Mr. John Cena himself. We're gonna watch that because it's so funny, and so I was gonna pick up two friends from work, and so we agreed we're gonna meet at SeaWorld where everyone meets that works at SeaWorld for anything. So we're gonna meet at SeaWorld, and I was like, okay, I'll drive, right? So like I pick him up, and on the way over there, this gigantic truck, like comes from behind me, and I guess tries to pass me but intimidate me at the same time. So he like ends up sideswiping my car, right? And I was just like, what happened? Oh my god! Like, and Derek, if you're listening, you were in the car as well, and so was Peter. And so I had the windows down because I love driving with my windows down, like a true West Sider. And so he luckily did not have his like hand reached out or anything like that. I know. I think like that kind of like made him think, all that stuff. And so I try to follow this guy, to try to get his license because, immediately, like after being like worried, concerned, what happened, I was just like, this guy, like for real. And he starts like rushing. For some reason, I thought this guy was gonna stop, right? And so I knew like he wasn't gonna stop when like I don't know, like I guess that emotion like seeped in, and I was like, this guy's not stopping. And so immediately, like my instinct was just to like, go after this person. And so I started going after this person on 1604. And I'm not going fast or anything, but I start like rushing, and he starts like weaving in and out of traffic. This is like the access road, basically, And we go inside this neighborhood on Shanefield, like in 1604, and he like swerves in and like swerves out of like a cul-de-sac, and eventually like Derek, Peter, like, oh, like it's fine, like we got his license, like like no need to like we don't need to endanger ourselves more for this, because this guy's not going to stop. So eventually we just like, since we're close to what is it called, Silverado, we were going to watch the movie, like we just park at Silverado. I call the cops, and I was just like, hey, I tell them what's going on. They're like, oh, it's going to be a 2.5 hour wait for someone to come. I was like, well, I guess like let's just watch the movie, like there's no need for us to just be waiting out here for 2.5 hours. So like we watched the movie, we get out, I had to call my insurance company, then the cops finally came, we did like the whole report thing, and the cops actually like were able to give me the guy's insurance information. They didn't give me the name or anything, but I gave that to my insurance, and they're like, oh, if you want it covered immediately, you have to pay your own deductible. And if we get any money back, like then we'll refund your money, which that hasn't happened. I already paid. Actually, I just paid my deductible. I barely got my car in probably the start of last week, and they called me yesterday. Yesterday was Saturday, right? They called me yesterday saying my car was ready, so I barely got that resolved. So like that's one thing, right? That's April 6th. Fast forward to the situation, I think that like we're all here to talk about. And
we're all here to hear the news.
Yeah, we're here to the good news. The good news, as some say. So April 13th, right? Originally, this was like plans from like way back then, and me and Anthony, we were wanting to go to House of Torment because House of Torment is this haunted house in Austin, and it's a very legit haunted house. And so now what they're trying to do during the year is trying to have different events to try to get people to go. I guess keep it open, make some money. So one of the events they were having was for Friday the 13th Slasher Fest, and it was supposed to be your favorite slashers. They were going to come in and invade the haunted house basically. We're like, yeah, we're down, like whatever. The day started out fine. Like it was the PB City Olympics, which is a preschool program for children with disabilities in my district. So I volunteered on that. So that went, according to plan. I, went to somewhere to test a student. That was according to plan. And then, I was starting to get ready for work. I mean, I got home from work, started to get ready for, Slasher Fest. So I got ready. I remember thinking about the clothes I was going to wear for some reason. Now thinking about now that everything kind of like makes sense or fits into everything that went on. But I remember picking my clothes, thinking like, oh, it's not going to rain. Don't wear flip flops. We're gonna go to haunted house. I don't get my feet stepped on, like things like that. So eventually we drive all the way to Austin. We end up going to Slasher Fest, which is, I would say like a hard 7 maybe, and that's like being really into it out of 10. I'm definitely I love their product, but I think their strong suit is definitely the 3 haunted houses during Halloween. If you kind of want to see something else, or you're kind of easily frightened anyways, I would recommend the other ones. But I feel like what they kind of did is like they opened their haunted houses as is, but they added like the characters afterward. And so, I mean, I'm giving my little synopsis of it in this story, but definitely, like, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was about being with friends or experiencing something cool on Friday the 13th, but, this was before everything happened. So we get out early because we had a fast pass or whatever, and so we waited nothing in line. There was, like, no one in the fast pass lane. And so we're like, oh, let's go get pizza. So we go get pizza at Home Slice Pizza, best pizza place ever in Austin. I recommend it all the time. And so we got pizza there. They were like, oh, let's go home, right? And right when we're going to go home, this was early too, like we're not crazy people. It starts like raining, right? And I was like, man, like what are the chances? And I don't mind the rain. So we're driving, and I get a call from my mom, actually my sister. And she says, hey, it's hailing at our house, which I live on like Bandera 1604, Opie Shamble area. Mm-hmm. She said, it's hailing. Be careful. Like it might be hailing over there. I don't know. And I told her, hey, like we're already coming back from Austin. We're actually closer home than we are to Austin kind of thing. Right. Mm-hmm. So we're driving. All of a sudden, like every car has like those temperature gauge that tells you, the ambient temperature around the car. Well, my temperature like goes from like high 60s or mid 60s, and it goes to like high 50s. So I go to 58, 56, and I felt like I was at like in the movie Day After Tomorrow. I don't even get the reference, but like the temperature starts dropping, like because there's like this impending like storm coming, and so like I started getting scared, and I told Anthony, I was like, hey, like my sister, or obviously they heard the call, and I was like, hey, the temperature's dropping around me, like that's like, to me that's indicative of like hell coming. And I was just like, it's raining, like let's be careful. So we're at high alert at that point, so turn the radio down, whatever. Lo and behold, it starts hailing. And I don't know what was going on, but it was definitely, I don't know, I was like, I wasn't expecting it, even though I was expecting it. So like it started hailing hard, and I was just like, man, like why? Like I don't want to, like my windshield was already cracked, and because I had a crack on it, but then when the guy hit me, like it like expanded all the way through the bottom of the windshield. So I was already mad about that. And so I was just like, no, like not, because I have like a double moon roof and everything. First world problems for sure. But I was like, no, like so. Anthony, Gabby, and I were like, okay, let's stop. Like, let's try to stop. So I get off the highway, and I already have this cracked mirror too. So I see what is a Valero, and it's already like all the spots are taken except for the last spot. And you know how, okay, like imagine the cover over the pumps, and then the last pump is barely covered by the roof, if you can imagine that. So we literally park in that spot right there. And I was just like, no, like, I mean, but something is good enough. So the entire time the hail was like hitting my car sideways, because like the hail was coming in sideways, and so the roof wasn't really protecting my car. But I mean, it was something, And then all the lights were off, like at the gas station. Like I don't know why it had like been off or whatever. So that happens, and then like eventually it starts like, I don't know. And if I could go back to my Snap videos, I did upload when the hail was hitting my car when we were parked. And so
it's kind of fucked up. I was gonna say, did you actually like videotape yourself like like getting hit or something?
I wish at this point, like to like make it like a movie out of it. But definitely, like we recorded that moment, that moment right before all this. Like, so now it's getting closer and closer to like, 0 hour basically. And literally it felt like 0 hour, and I'll go into that why. But so the hell stops, and I was like, okay, everything just like stopped. Like it was like Twister had just happened, like one of those, like it just came through the drive-through, and like we were like somehow survivors of it. It was like that dramatic, right? And so we're like, okay, like maybe it's good to like keep driving. So okay, we pull out, like, so I start driving out, and then I feel like, or I mean I don't feel it because I hear it on my car, more hail starting to fall again. I was like, oh no, no, no! And some car has already left. Like some cars already left. So I turn around and park in another slot, but this time facing the gas station.
Okay.
And at this point, it's starting to rain again. But I don't know if it's hailing or not. But it definitely, like, it was starting to rain again. But it was like between like hard rain and like manageable rain. And so we're like sitting there, like, oh, like we really need to go to the restroom or probably buy a drink. And I don't know at this point, but we're like in New Braunfels basically, so we're really close to home. So we get down, we're going towards the gas station, and that's literally the last thing I remember. So, and what ended
okay, like what happened? Like, because obviously you're not gonna remember, but like, what were you told that happened?
So I don't remember anything after that. My memory, before I go into what really happened, so this is my memory. So when I say 0 hour, it felt like 0 hour because like I felt like somehow I was like being born. Like I have no in this is how my life restarted, I guess I should say. I don't know, it sounds dramatic, but it definitely felt that way in the moment because all I can remember is that I had no idea what happened before. All I remember is being in a dream and everything was whitewashed, like a near death experience kind of thing, where I had a dream of like scenes of what we had done before. So I remember being like with Anthony and Gabby, but everything was white, like super white, where like you couldn't see any detail because of the white lights like protruding behind people and windows and places. Like, so it was like you were in a white room, but you knew that there was an actual room there or place. And so, and it felt like images only, not actual memories. But it definitely, I don't know, like if I can remember anything else, because at this point I'm forgetting that part. But definitely it felt like that. And all of a sudden I felt like a sensation of someone touched the back of my head with a towel, like in their hand, like they were holding me. And then all of a sudden I woke up and I was sitting down, like in a chair. And I looked to my left and I see 4 people I didn't recognize, 2 guys, 2 girls. It looked like the mom, a daughter, and 2 sons, right? Young people. Then I see 2 AMTs, an older man, a younger girl. And then I look in front of me is like actually Gabby and then Anthony next. And I was like, when I saw these people, I had no idea who they were. And then I started seeing like trying to figure out like the time or place. And I kept thinking like, I haven't seen like Gabby or Anthony wear these clothes in months. Like in my mind, it felt that way. Like it wasn't as definite as that sounds, but it felt like it had been months since the last time I had a memory. And so I was just like, what's going on? Like did I just like dream the part of my life and now I woke up in the past? Or did I like miss everything that's been going on? And I could not remember. And I looked down at my clothes and I didn't even notice that I was soaking wet, but I was soaking wet. And I was like, I haven't worn these clothes in months. Like, why am I wearing these clothes right now? And the guy starts asking me questions, and he's like, what's your name? I think he asked me that. He's like, do you know this person? And he points at Gabby. I was like, that's Gabby, my friend. But I looked at so confused because I didn't recognize her I didn't recognize what like she was wearing or why we were in this place. And then the guy asked like, do you know what day it is? And then Anthony's like, remember it's April 13th or 14th, whatever. He's like, remember we're going to House of Torment? I was like, no, you're lying to me. It's not April. It can't be April. Like, it was just like yesterday was September or October, like, you know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
wasn't the fact that he said House of Torment that made me think that. It was because in my body, like, or my mind, it felt like it was not that time. It's not April whatsoever. It was like it was fall to me. And then the guy asked me for my age, and truth be told, like I literally forget my age all the time. Like that's the truth. And he's like, how old are you? And I was like, I don't know. I can't remember. I literally said that, and I was like, honestly, I don't keep track of my age. But he didn't believe me. I was like, I really don't know.
Wait.
So
How old are you, Jesus?
I'm 29. So, but you know, now I remember.
You
Now,
sound. All right,
now
go.
that's
All
if
right.
that's who knows if that's true too. But
I think you. Wait, I know you and me are the same age.
no, I'm older. You're so mature that it feels like we're the same age.
Me mature. Are you sure you're talking about the right age? Anyways, go ahead, man.
So so he asked me that, and then when Anthony tells me he tells me the day, I was like, no, 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 no. And out of like, what is it called? Out of habit, I reach for my pocket and my phone, and I pull it out, and I look at my screensaver, and my heart drops. I was like, this can't be true. Like they're lying to me. Like something is off about this like reality. And because I look at my phone's screensaver, and I was like, this is the truth. I have not used a screensaver in months. Like they're lying. And like I felt like almost like I'm about to have to like not attack these people. Like that sounds harsh, right? So but I was like, they're lying to my face. Like why would they lie to me? Like it didn't make sense. But honestly, when I looked at my phone, that's when I freaked out. And I had not gotten any missed messages. I was like, they must be something happened. Something happened. Like, why is no one texting me? Like, are you okay? Like, if I am going through this, and like at this point, I didn't know that there was like a giant gash in my head, or exactly. I didn't even know what happened. I honestly couldn't remember. And so, like when they were telling me like all this stuff, I knew that they were lying to me because I couldn't remember, and I couldn't place the time. And then Gabby tries to hand me a bottle of water, and then the guy's like, "Don't give him water. He can't have any water." I've never heard that in my life, but apparently that's true. You can't. And I turn around again the other side, and like these like EMTs, sucky EMTs. I'll say this right now, honest, like they were like being rude. I guess like they were trying to place as to why I was like in this, and I guess they asked like if I had anything to drink, and I did have like something to drink when I was eating pizza, but that was like hours earlier,
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's irrelevant. But I guess I don't know what they were trying to do, but you could tell like they were just over it, that they were responding to a person that fell. Like, and honest, like, why? Like, I literally just fell. Like, I can't even comprehend why all this happened to me, and I literally just slipped and fell. Like, anyone could have, that could have happened to anyone, and they could have, like, experienced nothing to the extent that I experienced. So just saying that, like, they were being, like, rude about things, and they're like, oh, your blood's clotting, you'll be fine, right? And they make me stand up. And I turn around, they're like, you can go to like a med clinic and get checked up if you want, or whatever, the hospital if you want, but sign this thing that you're not going to the hospital. I have no idea how I signed this like electronic iPad thing. I don't even know. Like, I just remember signing something, and it goes to show like how much they care, about their patients when they make someone sign something when they're not coherent, and they obviously are having memory issues, right? But they made me sign this paper saying that I guess I wasn't going to go to the hospital. And I like turn around and I look at the trash can like that's by the door, because literally we're by the door. When I turn around, I realize that we're like blocking the door, basically to the Valero. And I see like a shirt and it's full of blood, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like literally, I can't even not cuss at this, because like I was like, it was just becoming real. Like I don't know.
This
And then,
is a PG show, Jesus. So try to watch your language.
I will. Sorry, but you can bleep it out in editing.
Yeah, I'm not very good at editing, so just cuss. I don't give a fuck. Continue.
So I was just like, it started becoming more real at that point. But then I will tell you this, like in the moments after that, I felt like I was completely coherent. I was like, I'm fine. Like, I'm fine. And at this point, I guess Gabby had been like contacting my sisters, and you got through to one of them because she contacted my little sister and my oldest sister on Facebook. Thank God, thank God I was like with people that care, and I know like you or Betty or any one of my close friends like
Of
would have
course.
done the same thing, and so I'm glad I surround myself with those type of people. And at this point, that's what came out of this, but in that moment they were contacting them, and then on the way, like, so Anthony says, I'll drive the car, right? Because I was like, no shape to drive the car. So right before we leave, we go to the restroom because that's what the reason we're going in. And the EMTs like leave, and I'm like still just like comprehending what's going on. It was in the restroom when I like was gonna go to the restroom. I realized my clothes were wet.
Mm.
They're like, yeah, you were like on the floor. So like Anthony starts like filling me in, like, oh, what happened? But when I finish the story, I'll fill you in on what they told me happened. So. So I go to the restroom, like he drives back, and my mom has my sister call. My mom was hysterical, obviously, and I felt so bad for worrying her. But my sister's like, where are you? Like, and I was like, on the way back to San Antonio. It's like, where are you going? And I was like, oh, a med clinic. I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, she's like, no, you're going to a hospital right now. Like, go to the hospital, go to Methodist or whatever. And I was like, okay. And so like Anthony goes to Methodist. And I go there. I go to the ER. I've never been, and so like it was just like surreal. Because like at that point, I think I started losing like I don't know, my shit or something. Because again, like I was trying to keep it together. Like I almost like, and I'll say this like on record. Like I felt like when I woke up, I was about to like lose it, like in the gas station. Because like when they were telling me all that stuff, and I was like, this is not true. Like I was just gonna emotionally break down, On the way back, they were asking me a bunch of questions, to test my reality. Like, oh, do you remember this? You know who this is? You know what this happened? You know what happened? And so, but all the entire time, I was just like gonna start crying. And when we got to the ER, the same thing. And I was just trying to keep it together because I'm the type of person like I could be like bleeding, and I was just like I'm worrying about other people and how they're gonna react, to it. So I'm just like, I'm so sorry, like, to worry you, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm over here like bleeding, but I'm definitely like I feel like I don't know, I don't know, I'm not as dramatic as I think people set me out to be, but definitely it played out very dramatically. So it definitely played out that way. So
Hey,
we're at the
we're all dramatic in our own way.
the guy like takes my like info, like he makes me type my social security number in like some little keyboard, and then immediately he's just like, after he like checks my blood pressure or something, some doctor comes out and he's like, oh, you're gonna go to the back immediately, and like you're gonna do this and that. And so we go, Anthony and I go back, and Gabby stays in the lobby, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like kind of like, that's when I kind of start like being like really mellow. And I was like, I'm fine. Like in my mind, I was like, I'm fine. Like nothing hurts. It's so weird. Nothing's hurting. My cut doesn't even hurt. Like, and they were telling me I had a cut. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm bleeding. So, eventually, like literally a couple moments later, my family arrives, and then like so Anthony's trades with one of my sisters and my mom. And so they're there, and like my mom's just like upset. Like she's just like, I can't believe this is happening. Like I hope you're like, we need to make sure you're okay, and all that stuff. And then then they come and take my insurance information. Then they come again. They're like, okay, get in this like chair, this wheelchair, and we're gonna stroll you to the back. And then at the same, like they keep asking me like, does your neck hurt? Does your back? Does anything else hurt? And I was like, no. I was like, no, like nothing's hurting. And they're like, okay, we're gonna take a CT scan in the back, and then we're gonna like try to get like the. I think one of the nurses had like looked at my cut. They're like, we need to like do something about that. I was like, okay. So they take me to the back. They lay me down on the bed, and I didn't want to put my head down like on the pillow because like I was bleeding and like it was hurting at that point. Like it started to like feel like once I put pressure on it, from like the bed, and then like I guess I bled on like the bed, and then like some other nurse comes, I believe, and she like says, okay, like your time for CT scan, and then so like I go to the back, or she wheels me in my bed. And she's telling me like what happened. Like I was like, yeah, this happened. Like, I have a cut. I kept telling her I had a cut in the back of my head. And so she takes me to the machine. The CT scan looks like the MRI machine. So I freaked out because I was wearing my clothes, and I was like, am I supposed to have metal on this thing? Like, is it gonna pull me in? Like I thought about all those like, horror movies or whatever, where like there's metal in the CT machine. I mean the MRI machine. And she's like, no, this is,
They show the
she's
cat
like,
and they show like a demon inside you,
yeah. So she was like,
like in
nah,
possession.
you can have like, you can have metal on this one or whatever. I was like, oh, thank God. Like, it's like, I don't know what I had I had everything still on me and I was wet. Like I still, like my shoes were wet, like my shorts, my shirt, everything was wet. It felt so uncomfortable. And they weren't like, they didn't care. Or I don't know, like maybe just, I wasn't telling them like everything was wet. And so they do the scan, and then that's when I get on the CT machine. That's when I get back up out of the bed, everything just like it hits me like a wall. Like my neck just like strains, and I can't move it, and like my back just like I feel this like pain in my jaw. Like I felt like it was like not broken, but like so tight, like I couldn't open my jaw. And then like this, like my left arm, like the back of it, it just like felt horrible. And I told the nurse, she's like, okay, we're gonna take the CT scan from like your head to your neck just to make sure. And then she like wheels me out, and she gives me another pillow because the other one had blood on it. And they roll me back, and that's when I'm waiting for a while. And eventually, like the doctor comes, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna put staples in your head." And I was like, "What?"
Ugh.
He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, just like one or two." I was like, "Okay, I guess." Like I've never had staples in my head or anything. And so he like tells me to like turn around like sideways, and then this other nurse comes. She's like really cool and nice, and it was like her first night there at that ER. I'm assuming, and like she comes, she's like, okay, we're gonna give you what is it called? Those shots you get when like you cut yourself on metal or rust. What is it called? Tetanus shot. So she like, so you're gonna get a tetanus shot. Where does she put it? In the arm that was like hurting.
Of course.
It was like horrible. It was horrible. Like it was painful. And so I was like, you know how they tell you to distribute your pain or whatever, so you pinch yourself in another area not to feel it. So I was like pinching myself in one of my arms, my other arm. And then the doctor's like, okay, I'm gonna like clean the cut. So I feel him like moving stuff around in the back of my head. And my family can see, like, so where my family's sitting down, they can see everything that's going on behind me, and I'm facing the other wall because I'm like sideways. And then like he like okay, I'm gonna inject you with the whatever, the numbing agent, whatever. And so I feel the needles like go in like my skin and my head, and I was like, oh God, like this is gonna hurt. And so eventually like he's like starts tapping. He's like, do you feel that? I was like, yeah, I feel like. He's like, it's just a pressure. I was like, I guess, I don't know, I can't tell you like what's the difference. And he's like, okay, what am I doing right now? He's like. And then I started freaking out. I was like, what are you doing? I could literally like freak out. I was like, what are you doing back there? He's like, okay, that's good. That's good. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, okay, I'm going to start putting the staples. He eventually puts like 7 staples in my head. And then when it gets to like the last one, he's like, this one might pinch. I guess because it was like further away from the injection zone, or where it was already like unnumbing. I don't know what he meant by that, but it definitely felt a little pinch. So, but I freaked out because I thought I was going to feel the entire thing. So I was already like tensing up, like just trying to hurt myself in a different area, like pinch myself so I wouldn't feel it. And then like he's like, okay, you can like turn around, and he starts telling me like, we haven't got your results back from the CT machine. And this was already like, eventually they moved me to a different bed, and then they told me the CT aren't ready. And then Gabby and Anthony had to leave, and this was like 4:30 when they finally left, 4:30 a.m. And, like, I obviously thanked them. They took my car back because there's no way I was going to drive my car back, and my sister had brought hers. Mm-hmm. And so that, like, they obviously were kind enough to do that for me. And then I didn't get to leave the ER until, like, 5 a.m. And they told me, like, oh, your CT shows that you have no internal, like, bruising or, like, any, what is it called? Fractures in your neck or your head. But I did have a bruise in the back of my head, like, I guess an external bruise. And they're like, you'll be like, you're going to take all this pain medication, and you can't go to work for 3 days. And I was like, what? I have work tomorrow. I didn't even think about work. I was like, I have a SeaWorld. I had to work. I was like, I've never called in, like, in the history of, like, the time I've worked there. So that freaked me out too, And so everything was hurting so much, and I couldn't get my medication until like the next day, I guess. So I had to call in. I called in for the weekend, and then like I tried to call in for work on Monday, but that's more complicated because I had like a timeline to adhere to. So what I did is like I did what I had to do and left right away. Um, but it was an experience because the entire Saturday I was like in like a weird mood. Like everything seemed to be taking forever. I can feel every minute of the day. It was like if my life had restarted, or like my tempo or of life had restarted itself, and everything just like started going so slow, you know? And then that's when like, well, I didn't talk to Anthony like officially what happened like until a week later when we went to, what is it called, Oyster Bake, and we were talking about it. And I guess that he hadn't known that I couldn't remember anything, like I lost my memory, like temporary memory loss. He's like, oh, that, like, you know, you were acting really confused. I was like, yeah, because I couldn't remember anything. But he's like, I was like, so what happened? He's like, yeah, we're going in, and like I guess I slipped because I was wearing my Toms, my favorite Toms, and they did me wrong. And I bring this circle back because like when I was getting ready, and I said earlier I was like, no, wear the flip flops. I saw the Toms. I was like, oh, these are slippery, but I was like, hey, it's not gonna rain, so I put them on. But only I knew at this point. So he said like I was like going in, and like I fell like on both feet, and like I landed like straight back, like down.
Oof.
And that's how he said I fell. And he said like that immediately, like some other woman, like he rushed over, like some other guy started rushing over, and some woman's like, don't move him, you're not supposed to move him. And that's when Gabby she's like, she saw me on the, I guess she saw what happened. She saw me on the floor. She's like, oh, his sister's just pretending that he's he's hurt or something, because it was just a fall, And she saw that like I wasn't moving, and like that people were rushing. She's like, "Oh, it's serious." She got down from the car. I had given her my keys, because she wasn't gonna get down at the gas station. And Anthony says like when he came up to me, like my eyes were open, but I wasn't like conscious. And then that's when like I don't even know how they did it, or they picked me up or whatever. They dragged me to like I don't know how they did it, but he said like some other guy and him and some I think another person tried to put me inside, and then like when they got inside, the cashier was like, what the hell's going on? And he like didn't want us in there, and they're like, no, like we're helping this guy, and they call the ambulance. I think Gabby did, and the other family of four, the guy like I guess went back to his car. This is how I understood like what happened. He went back to his car, picked up an extra shirt, and then put it in the back of my head because I was bleeding. And then that's when I woke up, I guess, in those moments. And so I wasn't like knocked out for a long time. But definitely, like, it messed me up, because, I recently got my staples out, and I still have I'm trying not to touch this, like, scab, so, like, my hair's, like, all messed up from the back because I'm, like, not brushing that portion of it. Been sleeping on my couch. I officially, like, moved back into my room, like, yesterday. So I've been trying to take precautions, like to try to make sure, like, nothing. I got back into the groove of life. I went to the Fiesta events, definitely. But I do feel different. Like if I can I can speak to that, because, like, I did have some drinks at like Oyster Bake, but I felt like it makes me feel different. I've had like I had a headache for a lot of days. And I think it's like post-concussion syndrome or something. Like you get a headache. I did feel nauseous right after when I got to the ER. I thought I only feel nauseous, and supposedly it's bad if you keep feeling nauseous. So I'm glad I didn't. So it kind of stopped by the time I left feeling nauseous. I felt like that. Like I keep trying to check my memory. So like randomly I like start thinking like of things. Or the other day, like actually last night, I cleaned my room and I looked at all these receipts because I keep my receipts for months. And then what I do is I look through them and I dispose of them while reminisce on receipts that I have or the days. So I started doing that yesterday, and I was like, man, like this and that. Like I was like okay, I remember this, I remember that. I was afraid that there was gonna be like something that I came across that was gonna completely like blow me out and say like, oh, you don't remember that. Or I was so afraid to fall asleep like in like the 3 days after, because I felt like, what if I wake up and I'm at a different time? Or what if I wake up in this? Or what if I don't wake up? Like I don't know, like it seems so like such a simple thing to fall, and like I call it a freak fall, a freak accident, because it had to have been that way, because it felt like literally the week after, like for the whole week after, I felt like I had been in a car accident. Like with the stiff neck, the back hurting, my arm hurting, my jaw. Like I felt like it was in a car accident. I literally just fell, right? Like, And so, I was getting over that. And then just today, I was at work thinking my life was okay. And I get a call from my sister, and she's like, "Where are you?" And literally, I answered the phone like in the middle of the park. Don't quote me on this, but I did. Because she rarely calls me just randomly. And she's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm at work." And she's like, "Are you gonna get off already?" I was like, "Why?" Like, you sound worried. She's like, "We were just in a car accident." And
Oh shit.
so like my mom and her were driving from church back home, and they were driving on Bandera. So like this is Bandera like before 410, like in 410. So by where I work, and apparently some guy like cut them off. Like so they were going north, and this guy was going south, and he was trying to turn in to like a restaurant, I guess that's on the other side of the road. So if you imagine this like a car going north, right? You see a car go south, and he wants to turn to his left. So he did that, and like apparently he didn't see them, so he like literally rammed into their car. And so like they both like went into like the curve of the street, and it made her hit like another truck that was there,
Oh crap.
So like she's like she was like, it's bad. Like when she said that, I was like, I can't stay at work. Like I've never been that type. Like, and all of a sudden I feel like I'm the type of person that's like never like work is not as important. And you know what? Like I made mistakes in the past, and I'll say this: like I put work first a lot in the past, and a lot of things have happened in the past that have been serious, and I chose to be very dedicated to the place I work. And more and more as I grow up, and I'm already old, I think back and say my family is important first, and I'm not afraid to call in, ask for a day, leave. I never just like left, So I just, I told my supervisor, and she's amazing, and she immediately, and I didn't want to leave her short because I know we've been short a lot. And the first question I asked, I was like, "Do we have any extra people in the park?" And she's like, "I'm not sure." I was like, "I'm sorry to say this, but I have to go. Like my family, needs me. They asked me to go because I'm the only person that can like provide help." As far as like family wise, when you're in an accident, something like that, you call your family. I was that person. My other sister doesn't have a car or whatever; she couldn't drive. They're stuck at home, so I was like, I have to go. And so she's like, yes. Like she calls our supervisor, and they're like, yeah, like so go. And I was like, I go. I just start rushing out. I forgot my radio on me. I had my radio, so like on the way down, like I stopped by Ed, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like please tell my assistant supervisor, I'm so sorry. Like here's the radio, and I need to go. So I just like rush out, and then so I got there, and I see the accident. And my mom's like freaked out, so because my sister had told me her chest was hurting. My mom's, and my mom's been through a lot, like and I don't want her to keep going through these things, and I'm trying to stay very positive about these things. Like I keep saying, like, you know what, maybe the card I was dealt in life right now is better than maybe what I would have been dealt, and maybe I am being blessed, even though it feels like I'm not. Like maybe this hurting my head was better than getting into a car accident. Maybe my sister like getting like in that thing is better than. So I'm trying to stay positive about it, but definitely like it's an ongoing saga where I feel like my family is for some reason in some way is cursed. But so I mean I don't know how to. I mean, and this is ongoing. This has been going on for like a long time, but definitely it seems like once you're like two steps forward, you get like those 3 steps back or whatever. It definitely feels that way. I had just gotten my car back yesterday, and their car's in the shop.
So
they had to take the car out.
So are they doing better now?
Yeah. I was talking to my mom, like really like talking about like how can we keep positive about this, and she at the same time she's just like, yes, like we are, what are the chances? Like, we're coming from church. It's not like we're out partying or something, And it's just hard to understand, like especially like if you're religious, sometimes certain things that happen in your life. But I don't know. I'm very spiritual in the end too, and with all this that happened to me too, like I'm still trying to say like this is the better of the realities. I feel like Doctor Strange at this point after watching Infinity. I was like, I feel like this is this is a better reality than another one that would could have been, and for
I
that
can
I'm thankful.
I can see you as Doctor Strange totally.
That's cool. I want to be Doctor Strange. Even though that if I were to protect the stone, yes, I want to have the time stone, but I would prefer to have the soul stone. I feel like it's more meaningful, the soul stone.
So yeah, let's jump into like a more lighthearted topic. Uh, what did you think of Infinity War?
I don't want to be a hater. I've been called a hater plenty of times. I think it was a great, great, great movie, and I know where it's going. And I don't know, like I really did like it, and I just didn't feel as emotional. I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are very emotional. Maybe I'm not just like maybe I'm just in a different plane of thought where like
Well, I mean,
certain things don't make me that way.
in your defense, as long as I've known you, I've never known you to be like a huge like comic superhero nerd.
Yeah,
I mean, from judging by what you said, you watch them, you watch the movies, you enjoy them. You're just not invested in it as like say me or Betty. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like,
most definitely. Like, I appreciate a good film, and I feel like this universe has made excellent films, and it's like on a repertoire, but like and I don't know, like I do get emotional in some films, maybe, like I'm an emotional wreck most of the time. But I think the most, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but I think there was some emotional parts I was just like, damn. But I felt like they weren't played as well as they should have. Like I felt it was like a missed opportunity for like a very sad moment. I don't know if we're talking spoilers here yet.
oh, you can spoil, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so I felt like
The movie came out Thursday, so go fuck yourself. You haven't seen it. So, yeah, anyways, go ahead.
so I feel like the part where Tom Holland dies, like or disappears, or whatever we call it these days in the MCU. I felt like that part could have been so much more emotional, and really showed a different side of Stark at the same time. Because like
That was pretty emotional.
it was emotional. I don't know why I didn't find it, like the words were there. Like if I read it in the script, I would have cried. But when I saw it on the screen, like I just felt it was very like strained. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like Robert Downey Jr. has good acting abilities, but I felt like the way it was direct, perhaps it was the direction of it. When he's like, I don't want to go, like that's one of like that pulls at my heartstrings. Like I feel like that would have been my reaction if I would have like been dying. Like I don't want to go. And I've seen other movies. I can't even think of a movie right now, but there's a movie that literally has those exact lines of someone passing away or dying. So like it made me think of that in my mind. Like so, like my memory retrieved to like those emotions where I watched a movie or read a book. I can't remember right now. If I do, I'll let you know. But of someone saying that I don't want to go, I don't want to go. Like I'm not ready to go. And so when he's saying that, like I was just like, damn, like this is sad. Like he's just like a child.
Yeah.
And when Stark is holding him, I thought like there was gonna be more emotion from him, but literally like the scene, like he disappears and then he like gets up and he's just like contemplating something, not even life or the death of this person that was like a protege to him.
I think. Well, I mean, not to cut you off, but like I think for Stark, his character is that he gets emotional, but he has a different way of showing it. Where his emotion is more like aghast. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like,
But I think it frustrated me at that point.
he hasn't really had to deal with too much emotion. His emotion is more like kind of bottling it in. Like in Civil War, he never, like he admitted, he never really had that chance to kind of, mourn for his parents.
True.
With Spider-Man, he sees, this kid is like me, except he's on a screw up.
Yeah.
He has good people in his life. He has an aunt that loves him like a son. This is someone that I can help be a better me, and now I've completely screwed him up, and now he's dead because of me.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, do you think? Okay, so I can relate to Stark in that way, like very stoic, or I'm more of the type to like just hide emotions, for the betterment of everyone, or to save face. That's the way I deal with it. Like I will never show you like my true emotions unless I'm like at my breaking point. But don't you think that Stark at this point in like the MCU needs like an emotional breakdown in his character? Like, not that I want one from him, but I feel like we're at a point where, I mean, he's already so like torn, with the ghosts that haunt him from the original attack on New York. Um, I would think that at that moment he was like ready for a break in like a flood of emotions or something. You know what I mean? And maybe we have yet to see that, but I felt like he's at that point in his life.
I kind of equate it to I don't know if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Hmm.
There was that scene where Yondu had with Rocket where, and I can't remember the exact line, where it's like, I know who you are because you're me. You try to act like a badass, but deep down inside you're probably the weakest one in the room. And with Stark, it's kind of like that, where it's like he tries to put on this whole show of like, I'm a smart ass, nothing gets to me, but inside I'm completely torn apart, I'm broken. So I think with him, I wouldn't say he's incapable of having an emotional breakdown. It's just he he kind of deals with things in his own way because he knows who he is and he knows who he's not. But most of all, he knows who he is. And with this thing with Peter, or Peter Parker,
Hmm.
he inside it's killing him, because this is probably the biggest fuck up he's done to himself and to someone else. Probably more than I would say losing Pepper is a less worse than losing Peter Parker in his mind.
Yeah, and we have yet to see like how he deals with this afterward in the next movie, but definitely like I mean there was a lot of emotion, but I felt like I don't know, like in the end, it was more for the fans. Like no, like everyone was like in the movie, the actors or like the characters were so not like almost emotionless because like there was like this like almost calming thing of this rapture. It was basically a rapture. You know,
Well, I mean, I
and
wouldn't say emotionless. It's like kind of put yourself in their shoes. What would you do if you just saw someone just like literally evaporate in the thin air? Like you wouldn't really. It's one of those things that you wouldn't really have time to really process it, because the whole time you're just like, where the fuck did you go? And
well,
then
yeah, it was like very arresting. Of your emotions. Like it just like it's incomprehensible.
it's kind of like when you're watching a
What's
horror
going on?
movie. It's kind of like when you're watching a horror movie and somebody encounters like the monster, the demon, and they're just like scared shitless and they don't move. It's one of those
That's true.
things where you literally like have no idea what you're supposed to do, because this is something that's foreign to you.
That's true. You know what? As far as I don't know what I have my theories of what's gonna happen next, and I haven't looked at any blogs or heard anything. The first time I'm like, like talking about it. I obviously have my own theories of what's gonna happen next in the MCU, and obviously, there's a lot of channels out there talking about why is certain things going on, but I don't know. I do love what's going on, and I've always been a fan of the MCU,
Yeah.
most definitely. So there's just like this closure to the old, like I know what they're doing is like this closure to the original actors that their contracts are already like ending, as far as like Marvel movies, and then like with the beginning of the new the new actors that are going to take over the MCU moving forward from Avengers 4. So I mean, I can see where that this is going to be their big hoorah. Like everyone, who was left after the 50-50 are people from the original like storylines of you know of the MCU.
Well, I mean, like you just said, what's coming next is they're already kind of grooming the new. Well, no, well, not new characters, because they've all been around for a long time, but just they're
Hmm.
new to us, because
Yeah,
we're used to Iron Man, Cap, Hulk, Thor, Black Widow, blah blah blah. The next movie pretty much is either just going to be like obviously Cap's going to die in the next movie because Evans is already like his contract's up. He already said his contract's up. He's done. Downey, he keeps kind of hinting at retirement, but at the same time he'll say something like, "I can't picture anyone else playing their role except for me."
Mm-hmm.
And the other actors, Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, he's already made it clear that he's done. Mark Ruffalo's pretty much done. They're doing a Black Widow movie. So
I'm surprised.
Yes, that's going to be a prequel, actually. And Scarlet obviously is going to stay on. And so that leaves, the new breed, like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and now Captain Marvel.
I know that part intense. I like how Samuel L. Jackson signed off.
Come on! I know it's a PG-13 movie, but you could at least let him say one motherfucker.
His famous line.
Make that movie rated R, not because of how intensely violent it was, more just for the fact that on the details for the rating, just say Samuel L. Jackson says motherfucker.
Literally, you don't have to say offensive language. Like, he just utters his most famous line.
I just remember when he drops that pager, I was just kind of like leaning in, like, what the fuck's going on? And it just shows the Captain Marvel symbol, and everyone in the theater just went, "Oh fuck, Captain Marvel!"
I know they're as wet of that as when Thor reappeared in Wakanda.
I didn't see that coming. I'll be honest, because like in the trailers, they made it seem like everybody was going to be off in their own like sections of the world. Yeah, and they made Thor seem like he wasn't gonna like participate in anything. Like he was just gonna get his hammer and then come back in the next movie. But he came back and just like started fucking shit up, and like everybody just went like ape shit in the theater.
So I want to give you my prediction of how Infinity War is gonna end.
Go ahead.
This is for all the people out there. Make sure I'm recording right now. I already stated this right when I saw the movie, and I have no help from anyone. This is like literally just from my own mind. So there's theories out there already existing about this. I literally haven't looked anything up. It's just literally what I interpret it from watching the movie. So this is what I interpret is going to happen at the end. And we can have a discussion about it if you wish, but this is what I know will happen. So Infinity War, the second part is going to start, right? And so there, it's going to be just like a tale of, them trying to get or find the gauntlet, basically,
Well,
and Thanos.
Just to let everyone know, that comes out next year, Part 4.
Yeah.
They filmed this one and then Part 4 like back to back for a whole year. Go ahead.
For continuity, thank God.
Yeah.
But he wanted looking like either years older.
Because it would be fucking sadistic if they left it like this and then we have to wait 3 more years.
I know, which they're capable of.
I mean, that'd be fucking like evil and brilliant, but I don't think they're that cruel. Anyways, go ahead.
So it's just gonna be a tale of finding Thanos, and I feel like someone will be emerged, and perhaps it is Captain Marvel, because they're saying her powers could be up to Thor, if not more than Thor's powers. So it could be that she's the one who is able to wield this the gauntlet. And once they get a hold of it, like at the climax of the movie, I think someone is gonna like pay the ultimate price to use the time stone to wield back the entire process up to the point where Thor appears on Wakanda. And as soon as he appears on Wakanda, he throws his fucking axe and he hits Thanos in the head instead. Because remember, Thanos said you should have aimed for the head.
Well, when Thor showed up in Wakanda, Thanos was still on that planet with Iron Man and Star-Lord.
Well, I mean the moment wherever he's throwing the axe in his head, like to his chest. Yeah. At that moment. So anyone who died before that, unfortunately, I think they will remain dead. But whoever died after that, because of the 50-50, will actually be saved. But then the entire events of Infinity War 2 will remain like null and void in a different universe, because at that point he reversed time all the way back to that point where he's throwing it, and just so he can like utter his last lines and say, "I took your advice," I aim for your head instead.
Ooh.
And Thanos will be like he didn't even know like what's going on. You know what I mean? But the audience will know exactly what's going on. I'm not sure if it's going to end that way, but that's literally my prediction. I feel like that will upset some people because it's going to feel like the whole Twilight thing where they have an entire fight and it's in someone's mind. But I feel like that could be like a perfect ending to Infinity War.
What I think can happen is, yeah, yours is actually better. Part 4, Cap's gonna die. I think Cap's gonna be the first to die. Because he's Cap. He's gonna do something. He's gonna do some crazy shit. He's gonna try and do some like kamikaze type attack where it looks like it'll work, but in the end it didn't work. Iron Man, I think, is gonna be the one to maybe put a stop to it, but in the end, Tony has to go because when all this MCU stuff started, Tony was the first one. I mean, Cap was the first. Cap was the first hero. He was the first Avenger, but Tony was the one who kind of like kick-started everything.
Yeah.
With Captain Marvel, you mentioned how she's supposed to be stronger than Thor. There's Kevin Feige from Marvel proclaimed that she's supposedly stronger than Thanos.
Wow.
Like she might even be the strongest character in the MCU.
Damn.
So
I mean, I would love to see that.
Shit, I love Brie Larson. I love her anything she does. I watched that movie she did where she won the Oscar, Room. Have you seen that yet?
No, I haven't seen it.
All right, it's on Amazon Prime. It's really good. It's a little. It's hard to watch at times because they like. I remember this site I looked at. They kind of classified it as they didn't classify it, but they put it as a horror movie, not because there's monsters or ghouls or demons in it, because this is something that happens like in actual life, and like the first half hour of it is scary to watch because you're watching the mom and the son interact and they're dealing with being captive. What's more scary is them having to live life after this happened, and the kid doesn't know how to actually live in society. He was more used to living in this in this shed. So that was the more kind of scary part to watch. What was more scary was that the kid adapted to life quicker than the mom, because the mom, she was kind of sheltered with guilt, Brie Larson's character.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really good movie. I would suggest watching it. She won the Oscar for that, and like almost immediately she got cast as Captain Marvel.
It's all set to be, like, I don't know, like I feel like it's appropriate, I like it.
I like it.
I like her.
I love her. It's weird
Yeah.
because like there are movies I watch where I see her, I'm like, I don't remember. Like I'm just now realizing that was her in that movie, like 21 Jump Street.
Mm-hmm.
She was in that. Yeah, she was in that. She played. She was Jonah Hill's, I guess, love interest. Yeah, Kong. She was in that. Kong actually wasn't that bad. Like a lot of people kind of gave it flack. I thought it was decent.
Yeah, they were always gonna give her flack, I feel, because like, like it's just like common that anything that's like a remake or anything, it's gonna be labeled as bad.
Yeah, there's always going to be that stigma, but overall, I mean, me and Betty watched it. We actually thought it was pretty good. And then they had that teaser setting up Kong versus Godzilla and Mothra and Rodan and shit like that.
Yes. I wish it's like it has to go down.
Oh, it must. Like it must. Since we're on the subject of horror movies. Did you see Quiet Place?
Yes, I did.
Did you? I did. What was your opinion on it?
Okay, so A Quiet Place. I mean, I like that what's his name?
John Krasinski.
Yeah, he. I like that it was like his directorial, debut or whatever you can call it. So I think it was good. for the most part, it felt very much like Signs.
Yeah.
Like it was the same storyline as Signs, unfortunately. Like, and then World of the Worlds, like these aliens all somehow all have this flaw. Why can't it be a worse ending? You know what I mean? Like I don't want to say that, but that we need a bad ending, but like, yes, it's hopeful about the next movie if there was one or there is going to be one. I don't know, but why end it like Signs, where they figure out.
So you're saying you didn't like the ending?
I feel like it was a tired ending, where like there has to be like this flaw, where there's like all of a sudden they're gonna kick some ass. And I felt like if that was going to be the case, then they should have put that in the last act, or I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't.
because okay, like these aliens are gonna hear you. You know?
I just thought that was incredibly random because this scene where the deaf daughter, she's turning up her new hearing aid, and for some reason the aliens don't like that. I mean, I know what their ability is that they can't see but they can hear, so their weakness has to do with hearing somehow. I don't know, like the ending. I mean, I kind of agree with you. It seemed like it was like just kind of put there, like it was just like they kind of phoned in that ending. So
Yeah, for like the satisfaction of the audience.
overall, I like the ending. I mean, not the ending. Overall, I like the movie. I thought it was really well done. It seemed more like an action film rather than a horror movie.
Yeah, it was definitely not a horror movie. It was more of a action, not action adventure, but sort of. Um, it had those elements, but I did like the not the cinematography, but the sound.
Yeah.
Definitely, I had bought popcorn and a soda, and I was unable to drink my I was unable to eat my popcorn or drink my soda because it was just so quiet that you can hear every little thing in the theater. So
Yeah.
I definitely could not eat the popcorn and be munching while it was quiet. I think what was more interesting is the introduction of her deafness, because if you did notice, whenever she would be hearing, it would be completely silent versus with sound. So whenever the children, other than her and the parents, were listening, or it was their, the camera was on them, you could still hear like the soundtrack with the ambient noise around them. But
Yeah.
whenever she couldn't hear anything, and it became more and more obvious after she was revealed to be deaf. But like if you do notice from the beginning, whenever it's on the camera's on her, it's completely silent, the movie.
Yeah, because like I remember going into like when they showed like the first trailer, I was like, so are they supposed to be deaf? Because I remember I saw the daughter with the hearing aid. I'm thinking, are they all deaf or what happened? But it just ended up being her, and obviously, I figured out, okay, they have to be quiet, and whatever's hunting them or whatever's surrounding them is going to hear them if they make any noise. The beginning was just it was cringeworthy to watch because you know in a way you kind of blame the sister, but you can't really blame the sister. You blame the parents because you're telling your deaf daughter to keep an eye on your youngest son.
Hmm.
You're giving her that burden, and then you take away the toy that makes noise, and then she ends up giving him the toy anyway. He ends up taking the batteries. And I thought what was very cringy to watch was Emily Blunt's the horror on her face as soon as he starts playing with that rocket and makes that noise. Emily Blunt, she doesn't really get a lot of praise. She's actually a very good actress. She's not just one note pony. She can actually act. She can go out there and give a great performance.
Yeah.
John Krasinski's known more for The Office, but he's proven that he could act. He can go out there and be dramatic and give a good performance. The deaf daughter, she actually did a really good job. She's actually the second deaf actress to be in a horror film. The first one, I don't remember her name, but she was in the movie Orphan.
She was dead. Oh, she was.
Yeah, she was legit deaf. I don't
Huh.
remember her name, but like they basically like she honestly the story was that she didn't even know that she was in a horror film.
Really?
Like they were telling her, all right, this is a game we're playing, so just act along. She had no clue that she was even in a horror film the whole time.
Man, you know what's so random that you bring up A Quiet Place
Yeah.
is that yesterday we're at the night parade, and literally like my cousin had bought his son a toy, like a bubble gun toy, and it had the same sound as that rocket.
Mm.
Like when he played it, like when he would like blow the bubbles, the sound and lights would come on, and it was like a fire truck, and like it would be the same sound from A Quiet Place. It was so random.
Ugh. Yeah, the
Yeah.
theater. Yeah, like you said, the theater we were in, it was quiet. Like, and some fucking random dude just kept coughing. Like, bro,
I
you were
bet you it
gonna,
was just like so loud.
you were gonna fucking die.
Yeah, I like
uh,
that. I like that, he had that place where he can like scream because, the waterfall was so loud.
yeah.
I feel like it could have been a good book, for sure.
Hmm.
Like I would read the book if that was based on a book.
Hmm. Interesting. Uh, what else? What are some other good horror films that came out recently? Not a lot,
The
right?
Strangers too.
Uh, I don't
Don't
even.
even. Don't even.
Has there even? I haven't seen it yet, so I can't judge it.
Oh.
I know Betty like hated the first one.
Why? I love the first one.
She thought it was boring. I
Oh
liked it.
my God.
I personally liked it, but she was like, yeah, I didn't really like it.
I, I like the fact that it gave, like, I love when movies can give me goosebumps instead of like scare me. I love to be scared and stuff. I love horror, but I feel like when it comes to like getting goosebumps, like The Strangers always does. Because I remember going, and I don't even think it's live anymore. I can check this. It's probably not live anymore. The website, but when you would go to The Strangers, like, um, they had a movie a movie page, and
Mm.
like it was the room. Like you would be in the room, and you could see like Liv Tyler like washing the dishes, and you could see the guy like come in and out from the background, and then, like it would show in a different room in a different room. So like it was a scary website too. Um, so I don't know. I really love The Strangers. And then Pray at Night, I felt like it was so well done. Like the cinematography of it, like you really had to get like all the what is it called, the homages to older films and the style, and then using like low key 80s like music that's it was so good. I don't know. To me, it was good. People like knock it out because it was just like kind of just another film with bad acting or whatever. But I felt like the style, like maybe it was bad acting, maybe it was just like a cringy script. But I felt in the way it was filmed, it was definitely like you had to have gotten the fact that they were trying to go for that campy, slasher film type. It wasn't even campy, like funny campy, there's that, but it was more so like the serious campy type of film from, Friday the 13th type, and then like the camera angles or like the cuts, the way it was cut, or like some of the scenes, like, and then like the way that the music was used in it, like it wasn't like they were playing 80s music soundtrack. It was just like, the radio was playing certain songs, kind of reminiscent of how Rob Zombie used music, where every time someone would be killed by what's his Mike Myers, "Don't Fear the Reaper" would be on in some way. It was reminiscent of the way he used music. So I appreciated that portion. I can admit that it's not the best movie ever, but I don't know, it was good enough for me.
You mean
So
are you talking about It Prays at Night, right?
yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah, because yeah, my friend Devin mentioned that too. He said that the trailers for that are deceiving. So I believe it's on Amazon Prime. So I don't know. I might give it a shot one of these days. I'm not sure when.
You should.
I'll I'll look into
Look
it.
into it. I'll have my people look into
I'll have my people look into it, and I'll get back with you. Um,
it.
what was your opinion if you've seen if you've seen it yet? Veronica.
I have not yet, and I know we discussed it. I can watch it. Like, I'm not gonna watch it by myself. You know, like I
you're
am kind of scared. Like,
Jesus. You're breaking up a little bit.
hmm. Oh, I am. Wait, is it better?
Okay, you're good.
Okay. No, like I haven't watched it because I'm kind of scared. Like I am low key. I love, like I told you, I love getting goosebumps, but I definitely like, I'm the type of person like my mom has always like let us watch horror movies since I was a kid. I remember renting like Friday the 13th, Tremor, like any movie you can think of, um, you know, from Blockbuster when I was a kid, and I would just watch it like I was little, and so I had no filter when it came to that. My mom loves horror films too, suspense. She's into all that. She's true crime, enthusiast also. But when it comes to demonic type of things, like she does not like it, and I'm willing to watch those things, but it does kind of freak me out too because I guess I grew up thinking like or knowing that those types of things like are the truly scary type, you know when it comes to like demonic type of things. So even when I watched like The Conjuring 2, I felt like it was scary because like
Oh
like
yeah,
that's scary. It's dealing with demons.
and
You know,
I mean that came out 5 years ago, but it still holds up.
yeah. And
So
so I love that aspect. I'm willing to watch it, but I always take like you know a moment to actually I was like okay, I'm willing to watch it. And I feel like I haven't read any of the reviews or anything, but I feel like
it's the
it is like demonic.
it's the scariest movie ever made.
Hey,
That
that's what
that
Facebook says. So
Yeah, there was a list saying there are people who can't even watch this movie because it's so scary.
me,
Yeah, you. It was written by it was written by you incognito. Uh, I
my
just
mind.
J Perry. No. That's your white alter ego. No. So yeah, I watched it along with Betty and her sister. I kind of begrudgingly watched it because not that I was afraid to watch it, more just like I was kind of like I want to watch it, but at the same time I'm not like hopping to watch it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it was one of those things where I was just like I was doing schoolwork and they put it on, and I watched it, and it was scary, but not like to the point where I couldn't go to bed that night.
I
Like
have had those experiences before, though.
like when a movie's really scary, I know when a movie's really scary because when I get home, I'll just turn all the lights on and I'll just put a blanket over me. With this movie, it was more just like, huh. I mean, it was a good movie. I'll sleep good tonight.
Me all the time.
Like with
No, like
like with the first Conjuring, I was like, what the fuck was that? Like I'd be in bed at night, and I'm like, why is there a fucking shadow in the corner? That's my hoodie, or is it? Who gives a knife to a chair? Anyways, go ahead.
the last time I had an experience like that, it was not with a movie; it was with a show. And I always recommend this show, and I'm actually afraid to watch this show because like it brings back, because I used to watch it. I told you I watched everything scary as a kid, and this is like so like you would think like it's meaningless, but and we had this conversation. Did you ever watch MTV Fear?
I watched a couple episodes when I was younger.
Hmm. And so there's like these like you know how the show goes, like these people like they get interviewed and then like they go out, they don't know some I guess like some aspects like the shows that copied it like would put families and they didn't know where they were, which is actually cool. But their concept was that signed up because you wanted to be an investigator of the paranormal, and they got you in some random place around the world, and you had to complete these tasks. Like you were assigned a color, and they would play like a roulette game, and whenever your color would come up, it said green will have to go to the infirmary and conduct a seance, while yellow tells them the instructions, and then red you will be the guide. And so like it was like it's just been like um I kind of like that aspect of it, and the challenges were so scary. Like, so the last time I watched it was maybe like 2 years ago, maybe, or a year and a half ago, and my sister and I were watching the show on YouTube. It's available if you want, like, find the right account. All the episodes are available, um, and literally, so my living room. We were watching in my living room, and we are gonna go to bed already. We didn't even finish the episode because it was like my sister's kind of getting freaked out. It was like Mina dos Estrellas, one of like the good episodes of the show. And so I walk back to my room. I go inside my room, close the door, and I hear a scream like come from like the second floor. And I go outside, and my sister's like screaming, and she's like, "I heard a door slam hard." And I was like, "What?" Like I was like, "I just closed my. I mean, I closed my door a few seconds ago." She's like, "It wasn't your door. I felt like it was like right next to me." And like she started freaking out about the whole thing, and like she could not sleep. She had to have my mom like sleep in the room with her at night, and I was kind of like like scared too. I was like, damn, like that's I do that. Like if something really scares me, like I just came from the movies or something, I always watch. And my mom always says that too. Always watch something else before you go to sleep, especially if we watch like a movie about like demons or something. She's like, always make sure like you watch a show that's like a happy show, or whatever, to avoid any nightmares or your feelings like being weird. So I do have that strategy. So I always put on like a different movie or whatever. Even if I stay up a little bit later, I always have to watch something else before I go to sleep. That's scary.
Yeah, I just found them. MTV Fair on YouTube. There's a couple of playlists that have every single episode. Yeah, there's a couple. There's a couple. There's ones that have. Yeah, actually, all of them they have every episode, but they're cut into like different parts.
Yeah, that's always like 3 parts per episode or something like that.
I don't know. I might just one of these days just curl up and get scared and just watch it.
You should. I recommend it. You and Betty. Kind of start from the beginning, but I mean, there's been some scary episodes. Like there's one where like the girl had to do a seance in a swimming pool, or in a room full of lamps. So I don't know. Like it's part production, like you could tell they probably set things up, but definitely there's been some like they did make it scary, because remember Scariest Places on Earth, that with Lynn Blair or something, where they would take the families around the world too, but then they would like hood them, and they would put them in different rooms of the house or the place or the castle, and then like all they did was had walkie talkies and their own camera, and they had to like eventually find each other or like do some tasks. But the whole point was like everyone got there, they were separated. So that was cool too. Like scary, I would recommend Scariest Places on Earth too.
Is that
or
a show?
Family Fear or something like that.
Is that a show that's still going on?
No, it's a show that the precursor to all like the investigation shows, because they switched over from like cool family investigator type of shows, which was like Fear, Scariest Places on Earth, and there was like Family Fear or something, a different show on ABC. That was kind of the same concept where they would take a family and they would investigate. But definitely, because it went into like, oh, we want to see investigators, like ghost hunters and like ghost adventures, which is really it's still going on, which is really good still. And so it kind of shift focus, but I like the aspect where it's amateur investigators, type of thing.
Yeah, the Scariest Places on Earth. I think I vaguely heard about that. Are you currently watching any of like the other like paranormal shows, like Ghost Adventures or Paranormal Lockdown, or any of those shows?
I watched the Ghost Adventures the other day. It was kind of scary. It was, I don't know if you watched the episode where they go to that old school. I literally just watched the end, and it was scary because like they're at this old school, and then they were at a swimming pool or like the gym, and then they see like this ball like roll out from like the balcony, and like it drops.
Ooh, and Betty's in here. Babe, we were watching Ghost Adventures this past weekend, right?
Yes.
The one where they're at that school and you see the ball just roll out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was scary. That was like lately their episodes have been kind of a little repetitive, but they've been having. They'll have some good moments where you'll just kind of go, "Oh fuck."
I feel like I don't know. I like that episode, so it kind of hooked me back. So now I want to watch that. And there was a point in time where, like, for at least Ghost Hunters, my family like used to like when my mom was still working before she retired. Like we used to go to her school after our job or whatever, or after our school, and we used to meet her there, and we used to like grab some Bill Miller or whatever. And while she was still working on lesson plans and stuff, we would watch like Ghost Adventures in her classroom, or Ghost Hunters, I mean.
Mm.
It was like such a great thing, our family used to do like every Wednesday or whatever day they would release the episodes, but we used to do that every week with her.
Hmm.
We'd just order something new and just like eat it there, and it was, I don't know, I miss those days a lot. But so those shows bring back, I reminisce on those type of things, or like when I was a kid when we used to watch MTV Fear, and I used to be so scared, and I would think like, if would I do that, or like I can't wait to do that. And then you grow up and you don't get to do that. But I have this app, and it could be considered just a game, which it is, but it's called Ghost Radar Connect,
Hmm.
and they have different versions. I don't want to open it in my house, but they have different versions of it, and I think I got the one that cost like 99 cents because I enjoyed it. But they have that feature where they have the Vox or whatever, where it's like the static noise. Word generator, or like a ambient ambient word generator, where like it's supposedly based on your whatever surroundings, different like aspects, it'll create those words. So when you're asking like, tell me this, tell me that, I did have, and I have receipts actually. Last year I was working in Zone 1, and I think I don't know if I've told you this before, but literally like I did have an experience where I was using that app, and if it's just a game, how can it be this accurate? So I was like working at SeaWorld that night, and so like then it was answering me questions like if it knew like things about where I was at in real life. So it was a scary experience. So it might be a game maybe, but it's definitely like it felt really real because it was answering those questions for me.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
I believe. Yeah, I think on the last show we did, or the
right?
last show you're on, I believe you told me about that.
Yeah. I mean, I always remember it because, I mean, that's like for me proof. But that just scares you more because sometimes like we see these shows or we talk about these things, and like deep down we think it's just a movie. It's just make believe. It's just something that humanity has believed for so long that isn't true. But then you start experiencing something like that, and you're like, wait, is what I've seen true? Is this real life? You know what I mean? So you start questioning a lot of things like when you experience something like that.
Why is it that people like when it comes to the paranormal, I can't say the word right, paranormal, like they're so adamant that it doesn't exist?
That's true. Or like that, like when I started tonight the show, I was like, I'm cursed. People don't believe that curses or hexes or exist, or maybe witchcraft, but I don't know. I mean, not that. How do you explain? I hate that. When people say, "How do you explain this?" Then, because you're not explaining anything either. But definitely, it makes you question certain things. Like the world is not as random as it may seem or as it may appear.
Yeah, like
So
you know, paranormal. I believe all that. My dad has like stories on top of stories. And my brother has dealt with that type of shit. Daddy's brother has, I think, had it worse. The only ones I kind of like call bullshit on are the ones like who was that one guy, John Stewart or John something, where he had that show where he would have like random people in the audience. He'd be like, okay, so you're trying to look for your grandmother. Her name begins with a an N. Her name is Noah. Nora. Is that her name? Nora? So it's like, yeah, those are the people I kind of call bullshit on. Like, psychics, I don't say is bullshit. I think it depends on the person. Because it's like, from what I heard, if you really actually want to talk to a psychic, it's better to just show up instead of like making an appointment. So because those are the ones that can easily just like look you up and say, so your name is Andrew, and you have a mom named Kathleen, and blah blah blah. Like the best ones from what I heard are the ones where you just show up and they automatically know your name, they know your information, they know shit about you that you haven't even told like your closest friends. So I
That's
haven't been to a psychic reading yet because I'm afraid.
I did like the fun ones from SeaWorld, but it was very vague. Remember when SeaWorld? I don't know if you remember, like 2 years ago, I think they were doing they had like a crystal ball reader and a card reader, and I have read. I do this on the side. I don't do it on the side. Like it's my job. Back in college, one of my friends wanted to like work for a carnival or the fairs and stuff, and he was learning how to read cards, the tarot cards. And so he started learning it. It kind of interested me too. I mean, I'm kind of into that. I'm kind of into, I don't know, mystical type of things. I wish I was like a wizard or some powerful person.
So you are Doctor Strange.
Yeah, literally. That's goals. So I started learning too, like how to read cards, because like if you buy the book tells you the interpretation, and then so it's up to you to interpret the card based on the available interpretations of the card, reverse or forward, and then based on the set that you're doing. Are you doing like a Celtic cross? Are you doing past, present, future? You know what, the Rising Sun one. So I did. So there's like different like things you can do, but I never weaned myself out of the book, so I'm not a professional in any way. But I've read people's cards, and I do feel like there's like some realness to it. I mean, I know how it works. Everything is about projection, and I'm a psychologist too. So all you're doing is projecting your own emotions into the cards you get and what you're being told. So it's human nature that you're gonna fit you're gonna fit whatever your situation is or something. You're gonna fit it into what you're being told. So I get where like the psychology of it, but I don't know. Like I feel like there is some truth to tarot. I love cards. I'm into card games. I'm into tarot cards. I'm obviously into Yu-Gi-Oh. So like there's some aspect into, and I remember in Yu-Gi-Oh, this is all like nerdy, but in Yu-Gi-Oh, my favorite character is Bakura, because he played a deck that was basically not a ghost deck, but he did a card. His deck was to summon the Destiny board, which is like the Ouija board, basically. So he played cards that were like in that realm, like they were like basically tarot cards, basically. And in one of the episodes, he plays tarot with his cards, So I don't know. I find it fascinating, and I have read people's cards. I don't do it professionally. Like I said, I literally just like look up the information in the book that I have. I wish I would learn it. Like I bet if I like sat down and really learned each interpretation, I would be able to do it. But that's like too much dedication. To do that.
Oh man.
But definitely, it's interesting.
Definitely interesting. Tarot cards. Yeah. Like, with that type of stuff, again, with the paranormal and stuff, I don't mess with it. I don't make fun of it. Just like the crackpots, like certain psychics that like to pretty much exploit people's emotions.
That's true, very true, because they'll get you in like your weakest state.
Those are the only ones I don't have respect for. Anyways, man, I think. What the fuck was that? Sorry, I thought I heard something. Anyways, I think I'm gonna bounce. Shit. It's almost 2 hours. Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, man. You sure can talk.
I talk too much. This is a side story, but today I took a quiz of because you posted like which Avenger you are on that quiz thing.
Yeah.
And then like one of the 20 questions you have to answer was like, what do your friends say you do too much or something like that? And it's like, you talk too much. I literally had to put that one in. And guess who I got?
Who?
I got the one and only Iron Man. I was like, no, I want to be Doctor Strange.
I got the Hulk,
I know.
which was like, God damn it.
I know you
Um,
wanted Tony Stark.
Tony Stark, Cap. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I'm a Stark.
True.
Um, oh, what were you saying?
No, I believe it.
So, when are you gonna start your show, man?
I'm lit. Uh, I think once like the school ends, like on at the end of May, s- like at the end of May, like school will end for the students, and I'll still be at work, and so I'll have more time, like because basically it's all paperwork stuff at that time. So I just have to show up. There's no like thinking involved. So I think like once I get that, I really want to start it before I go on vacation. That way I can have something to talk about. Like I can build up to something. That way I can talk about something when I get back. Because like I told you, like originally I really wanted to do a Disney blog, but the market is saturated in Disney blogs, Disney podcasts, Disney YouTube videos. So I love every single one of them. Like I don't think they're doing. I think they're doing such a great job. I can never do a job like that. You know what I mean? That's a lot of dedication in the people I watch, and I don't think I can do that just solely for like in Disney. I love it as much as they do. I think, but I think I want to make it more like your show or Derek's is a little like it's more just Marvel topics or whatever superhero topics. I want to be more variety, in what I talk about, but definitely with the disclaimer that there's going to be a lot of talk about Disney type of things because I tend to always gravitate to that topic anyway. So I think that I'll probably have to like name it something that's relative to that, you know.
I was actually contemplating changing the name of the show because the Dreary show kind of seems like a bland show. Like I just want to give it like a different name, different
Why
feel.
don't you go retro? Like if you were to stick, whenever I see the Giuliani show, I think of like those variety shows from like the '60s or '50s, the Gong
Yeah.
Show. You know what I mean? Maybe like your at like your logo and stuff could be like very retro. I don't know. I'm retro. Like I literally today on Amazon I bought three more fans because I bought a '50s inspired fan, so I bought three more. It shows like my state of mind. Wasting my
uh,
money on fans.
I don't know. Eventually, I'll kind of ponder what I want to name it. But yeah, but with your show, I mean, I have confidence that whatever you do, you're gonna be great with it because you can talk. You have the gift of gab. You can. I mean, if you want to do a Disney show, that's awesome. You can talk for like hours on end about Disney, knowing you and. But I think just anything in general, like you're very passionate in what you talk about, whether it's about Disney or just life in general. So I think you'll be all right, regardless of what the content of the show is going to be. With me, I already knew in my head what I wanted to talk about on my show because I already know what I like. I knew just beginning I was never going to talk about politics, because A, I'm not interested, and B, I'm not invested in politics like most people are, because
Mhm.
I just read what I read. I just want to be on here and be like, Donald Trump is a bastard. Why? Because he he, he said things that I don't agree with. Well, the media just like makes it look worse. Yeah? Well, I don't know. But I'm the type of person I like to get my facts, straight before I, say something. So when it comes to politics, I just like look at something else. So on this show, you will never really hear me talk about politics. If it's like maybe brought up, it'll be talked about, but not for like a. Basically, this isn't CNN. So, um, so yeah, this show, um, your show. If you need help, I mean, I always say if you need me to help you set everything up, just let me know.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know I've been like talking about it, and I keep thinking about it, and I was just like, man. And I see y'all like you and Derek like doing your thing, and I was just like, man, like I really want to get back, or I want to go. I want to get to the game. You know what I mean? But I definitely I feel like for me to do it, I need like that moment in time where I don't feel like overly like stressed about things. You know what I mean? Or busy.
Well, I
I feel
mean,
like I just need a day to
well,
do it.
well, Well, I mean, I'll tell you this. Like, I can come over and help you get everything started, and we can, maybe start your first show that
Hmm.
day. Because you already have the mic, you already have, the app that I showed you, and I don't know. I mean, maybe we can start your very first show just on that day whenever you're ready. I'll just head over and we'll just start talking.
That's true. I'll probably do something like that. You know, get my training wheels and then take them off.
Learn to fly.
Learn to fly. First, I need to learn how to ride a bike again.
Fuck the bike. You need to fly. Nothing. But yeah, you have my number, man. Just message me whenever you're ready, and I'll be there.
True, true.
All right, man. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to be on the show. I love
No,
having you. Always love having you on.
it's always a pleasure being on the show.
Yeah, man. Because you, again, you just I just throw I just throw a topic your way, and you just take it from there. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean
No, I know.
it's always good to have friends where you can talk about certain topics with them.
This
You
is
know,
true.
I had my friend Devin. We talk about comic books, and I have you on. We can talk about a variety of things. Like movies and life in general. So and that's always great. I love having you on. When can I have you on again?
Whenever, really. I mean, the only thing Monday nights I have class, but I think the first week of May is like our last day, so anything at nights really or what work for me.
All right. You said they won't or will.
Will.
All right. How's Wednesday looking for you?
Wednesday night, maybe not. When do you usually do your shows? Just randomly?
Sometimes I do them every Thursday.
Oh,
But I guess it depends on the guest. But how are you for Thursday?
I could do Thursday night.
All right, then it's so. You will be hearing Jesus again next Thursday.
Jesus will return.
Jesus will be resurrected again next Thursday.
He will return. I want to be a Marvel character.
You're already Doctor Strange, man.
Deep down, I am.
All right, man. I will talk to you soon. I will text you in a bit for some deets for next week.
Cool.
All right, man. Later.
Later.
Oof. 2 hours and 3 minutes. Did not expect it to go that long. As you heard, next Thursday, we'll be having Jesus on. Devin, I'm not sure when we can get him on. Maybe we can try something tomorrow or maybe Wednesday. Yeah, next Thursday, Jesus will be on. Might even do a live show. Anyways, thank y'all for listening, and be sure to check out my YouTube channel, which I will post a link, and we are available on Google Play, iTunes. You can find us on YouTube, which is on my YouTube channel. And I will be hearing from you next week, or you'll be hearing from me next week. Ciao.